Being a physician associate is actually very fun. There is always something lurking in the background and some other thing looming at the horizon. Either you learn to laugh or you actually begin to despair. The truth is, we practice medicine but are not doctors. And to make matters worse, we're a dependent profession. When the people we depend on decide to tighten the grip, it really leaves little room to breathe. Following the recent GMC announcement to regulate the profession, I was hoping the bros would give us a Christmas period off, while still expecting some well-crafted body shots in the upcoming year, given the leak from the Telegraph. Boy, was I wrong. Twitter fingers became trigger fingers. These bros decided to spin the block one more time before the close of the year. They had us on the naughty list, holes in the socks for days. The interim guidance published by the RCP recently is what the gaming brothers will tell you. This is an absolute nerfing. Similar to the RCGP scope guidance, this is not law. It's just a guidance, the implementation of which is dependent on the discretion of the supervising clinician. If they decide to implement it, there is nothing you can do about it as a physician associate. Okay, I'm lying. There is something you can do. You can acquiesce and build within yourself something Nietzsche called ressentiment, a feeling he was well acquainted with in his relationship with Richard Wagner. Or you can leave, you can resign, you can quit. I don't work in secondary care, but I do find it hard to believe that physician associates working in the specialties under the jurisdiction of the RCP will wholeheartedly accept this guidance and the defined scope. Points such as the illegality of claiming to be a doctor, ordering ionizing radiation, or the prescribing of medicines is really not breaking news. Neither is the need for supervision. Though in the past, a registrar could suffice, but at the moment, from what I've read, it's only a consultant or a SAS doctor. However, the redefinition of the role as one limited to basic clinical and administrative tasks is somewhat new, though the sentiment has long found fertile grounds in the hearts of those opposed to the role. And in their defense, I'm told that is how the role was sold to them. Clearly, there is a discrepancy between how we see ourselves and how they expect us to see ourselves. It's hard to accept that your skill set is limited to basic clinical and administrative tasks when you were taught on this competency matrix and the updated version, which is now the para. The document says it's intended for physician associates at the point of qualification. Before the RCGP posted their current scope of practice, there was a clause which was voted against by their members, which would have allowed physician associates of a given experience to work above the currently defined scope. Though the RCP says this document is for physician associates at the point of qualification, we must acknowledge that we as physician associates do not have a rigid framework of progression similar to what our brothers from another mother have. That is to say, there is no formal differentiation between a day one PA and a physician associate with 10 years of experience, despite the experience and knowledge accumulated during that stretch of time. I believe in knowledge, authenticated knowledge. Our system believes in credentials. Oftentimes, the credentials and the knowledge, they go hand in hand. And sometimes, it can find the knowledge in the absence of the necessary credentials. The problem is finding out the presence of knowledge in the absence of a credential comes at a cost, and it's not a cheap cost. The cost could be the life of a patient, a delayed diagnosis, a misdiagnosis, the license of the supervising clinician, and some other costs I'm probably not aware of. Therefore, the credential is a proxy. It gives you a certain degree of confidence that the knowledge is probably there. Because of these costs, organizations tend to use categorical decision methods. There could be a physician associate who currently is capable of doing X, Y, Z, but this scope guidance will limit them to do only X, a one-size-fits-all approach. How this document will impact the day-to-day activities of our colleagues in secondary care is yet to be determined, but I believe it will feel like a slap in the face when compared to how this same Royal College of Physicians through the FPA defined the physician associates a couple of years ago, around 2018, in their Employer's Guide to Hiring Physician Associates. One may argue that was the Faculty of Physician Associates, and this is the RCP. When I was looking at that document regarding how the RCP got entangled in this whole physician associate business, there was a line in there. The RCP and the FPA were not separate legal entities, so you can't have your cake and eat it too. If the FPA published something, In my head, it was published by the RCP. And every document the FVA published, you always saw the crest of the RCP next to it. That is a cosign. Back then, we were healthcare professionals with generalist medical knowledge working alongside doctors to provide medical care. Today, we are executors of basic clinical and administrative tasks. The same organization. Back then, we could diagnose and treat illnesses in the secondary care setting. Today, we are not trained to undertake definitive independent diagnosis and management of a patient in the secondary care setting. Back then, though working under a scope defined by the supervising clinician, we were encouraged to grow and expand our skill set. Today, a tight fence is being sought to restrict what we can effectively do. I say all these things to allow those interested in the profession to make informed decisions, not clouded by wishful thinking. Yes, the Leng report will be very instrumental in shaping our future role within the NHS, and it is meant to be an independent review. The views and recommendations of some of the stakeholders that will be consulted are already known to us, and they do not paint a rosy picture. We can be hopeful, but always remember, all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. It's your boy OT, and I'm out. Salute.